Hello, Brother Monroe here. Welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts, but not as you know it. I am going to start the new campaign, recording for it very, very soon. But consider this like an episode 0 slash an announcement of what is coming in terms of a mod that I have been working on. Now, I'm going to straight off the bat say that I am very new to modding. And a lot of the data and information and hard work that I'm using in this mod has been done by other people. First of all, Admiral Snackbar, author of the Balance mod, and second of all, the Baron or Barrow, who wrote or is writing the Naval Arms Race mod. Yes, that's right. I've taken data from both and combined them. That's the that's kind of where the mod started, but it's gone a little bit further than that. And I have been tweaking it, and you can see here the Dreadnought Improvement Project is a go. It is currently very much in the testing phase because, well, to be honest, I broke a lot of stuff with the first version. And there's still some stuff that's not quite right that I still need to discover because I need to play through a campaign. So the new campaign that will be coming up is basically going to be live testing of this mod. If you're interested in helping out, and I do really, really appreciate it, and there are already some folks who have done hugely helpful things explaining how certain parameters in the game files actually work, or helping me track down what is causing an issue. If you're interested in helping out with that, join my Discord. There's a link in the video description. And look for the Dreadnought Improvement Project channel, and you can help out in there. So, this campaign is going to be a bit different. I've changed quite a lot of stuff to do with the game. I'm going to start off, though, by showing you kind of what has changed in the builder, because that's probably the more interesting one. So, what is the purpose of the mod? So, the purpose of the mod is to make something that is very close to vanilla Dreadnoughts, but just improved, hence the name. And my inspiration is taken very much from the Balance mod. I understand that, Admiral Snackbar are not wanting to pursue Dreadnoughts modding too much anymore because, not really playing the game much anymore. Has moved on to other things, which happens in modding. So it's very much inspired by that approach. There's only the one file you need to download and install. It's just a resources.assets file. There's no changes to kind of... there's no significant changes. So you should be able to load a vanilla campaign using the mod, and it won't break. Even if you then go back, although there might be one thing that the game kind of will think is weird, but you will experience weirdness, but it shouldn't be, completely, oh no, I've stuffed it. Like, if you play a turn on vanilla by accident, and then, or you choose that I don't want to play the mod anymore, whatever, it should be fine. There should be no issues. So, what has changed? Well, first of all, I stole... with permission, but I stole all of the kind of the weights and the costs and things from the not from the Balance mod, but actually from the Naval Arms Race mod. And what that means is that if you build a ship, just stick some stuff down. If you're building a ship, you'll notice that the offsets, as well as the pitch and the roll, is a lot more forgiving than it is in the vanilla game. And that is a bit of a double-edged sword, actually. So it means that players have a lot more freedom I would say. You should have a lot more freedom in your designs. You should be able to make... no, that's not real. See what I mean? That's not a very well-balanced ship. And in vanilla, that would probably have a terrible offset. But here, offset's very forgiving, because most of the weight is centered in the middle in your engines and such. If we build like a KG5-esque, oops, sort of ship, there we go. So you'll notice that weights costs are more like if you're playing the Naval Arms Race mod than if you are playing the vanilla game, or if you used the balance mod. It's very forgiving, and that means the AI ships, even if they do something very wacky, it'll still work, and it'll still be accurate. So you have been warned. The AI, even if it does a terrible job in vanilla, and you have 100% offsets or something crazy like that, in this they're not going to have those huge penalties. So AI ships are not going to be terribly inaccurate. That's just not going to happen. Beyond the changes that the Naval Arms Race mod makes, in Naval Arms Race, you'll notice that a lot of the names for components and things are different, particularly the armor, the propellants, and the shells and things. They've all been tweaked. I've tried to keep things more vanilla-like, though. So if you go to the armor, one of the biggest changes in NAR that I really like is weight for armor is gone. There is no weight reduction for any of the armors whatsoever. That means, you're not going to get magical free displacement by upgrading the armor. What you do get by upgrading the armor, and I have made this a kind of continuous thing, so they just improve steadily as you go along, is they get more expensive, but you get more armor strength progressively as you go along. And some of them, the more advanced armors, starting with Krupp, you get a little bit of a resistance buff as well. Not a lot, but a little bit. So ships made with high-end armors are tougher than ships made with low-end armors, but the weights are the same. So you can freely refit ships between the different armors, but you're not going to get any displacement back. You're just going to make your armor better. So what you could do is you could improve the quality of your armor and then shave a bit off. If you want to save weight, you're going to have to shave some armor off. Now, that the AI shipbuilder kind of understands what's going on with that. Not always, but it's not too bad. I have been trying to fiddle with it. It also means armor strength. The maximum armor strength is actually now 200%, which is very jazzy indeed. Which means you can just max the slider, which is fun. Generally speaking, armor strengths are a lot better than they are in the vanilla game. Now, that's not the only change, of course. The actual shells themselves, these are pretty much the same as they are in the balance mod. Same for the shell types. This is all very similar to what you might be used to, but the propellants have been changed. Most notably, and this is me for this mod, I've removed the shell damage stats from the propellants because that doesn't make any sense. To have, oh yeah, it does more damage. What? No, it doesn't. The damage is based on the explosives and the type of shell only. What you'll see now as well is that gun range, gun penetration, and muzzle velocity are now linked. So, for instance, Cordite 1 here gives you 6% range, 12% pen, 12% muzzle velocity, and you'll see that that's kind of a similar theme as you go through them. but it does decrease your base accuracy because it's a very powerful shell, and the barrel wear, etc., and things like that means that you're not going to have a perfect fit all the time. So very powerful, very dangerous, but maybe not the most accurate. Although, well, we'll come back to accuracies later. And then or you could go with cordite. You can make your cordite into tubes instead of cords, and it's a lot safer, but it doesn't hit as hard. So if you're used to tube powder being super penny and punchy, that's not the case anymore. Tube powder is more accurate and fires faster, but has lower range, lower pen, basically, until you get to triple base, where you kind of got the best of both worlds. Also lowered the main gun weight increase down to 1% for triple base as well, because I thought 10% was pretty harsh. There's a few other changes in here, but the idea was to give you a fairer progression of propellant, but as well, propellant no longer affecting damage is a pretty big change. It's just based on your bursting charge type, so this is going to be a lot more important. Same with your shell types as well. If you're wanting to go for damage, light, standard, heavy, super heavy, I'm using the balance mod values for these as well. Should be okay. Another relatively big change is that there is now no weight difference between the various rangefinders. It is all 10%. You have a rangefinder, coincidence 2, you want to refit it later to a stereoscopic 3. There shouldn't be. Oh, there is a little bit of a change in the weight. Okay, but from the main gun weights, but it's not nearly as much. So swapping between coincidence 5 and stereo 5 is now much, much easier, which makes stereoscopic a little bit more of a viable choice, in my opinion, because it's no longer significantly heavier, it's just a little bit heavier. So if you want that long range accuracy, then you can go for it. Same with radar. It's just another 10%, basically. And they're all the same, so you can refit between them. Basically. So if you have an RDF and then you decide to swap it out for a radar, it's basically going to be the same weight. If you want both, you can have both. Another change, acoustics. You're not getting them on heavy cruisers, battle cruisers, or battleships anymore. They will not be able to spot torpedoes, which makes them very vulnerable to torpedoes. And I also lowered the AI's detection radius. So, you can get snuck up on and hit with torpedoes on your capital ships if you're not running light cruisers or destroyers or torpedo boats as screens to keep an eye on them, basically. The other big change as well is to the actual base stats of guns. So you can see here, if I'm looking at standard cordite shells with the standard 15-inch gun against my own armor quality, those numbers will look quite different to what you're maybe used to. Particularly early on, deck armor values are quite low. 45,000 meters is very far out. If you're looking at a realistic battle range, which are slightly longer in this mod, particularly early on. If you're looking at your kind of 30,000 meter range, 6 inches of deck armor is going to be plenty. And at that range as well, we would only need about 12 inches of belt armor. So you will end up with more realistic values. If you want to arm your ship to go in really, really close, you're going to have to put on an awful lot of armor. But what you should find is that, particularly for things like cruisers and that, 6 inches of armor on a heavy cruiser now actually isn't too bad. And the 9-inch battle cruiser with full-on battleship guns actually, it's not a bad option, because if we just grab something like an 8-inch gun with the same shell setup, if the tilt... I did change the tooltip delay to 0.1, by the way. You can see here, an 8-inch 39 with a fairly normal setup, 6 inches of armor is actually pretty good against this kind of gun. So you don't need as much armor as you do in vanilla, which is great because the AI loves its unarmored designs. So again, this is a big help to the AI, but it's also a help to builders. You can build your ship around certain calibers and certain levels of protection. You might want to guard against your own guns. You might want to go, well, I can't guard against my own guns. That's not practical. I'm going to guard against 8-inch guns or 9-inch guns or something like that. And you can build your ship around that, and that is totally viable approach. So there's a lot of changes in the way you build ships. That does mean that vanilla designs are not going to work. They do work sometimes if they're significantly underweight, but if you have vanilla designs from Community Design Pack or something like that, they don't really work in this mod. That's not to say that they will break the mod, but yeah, if you've got shared designs, you're going to have to clear them out. I would recommend clearing them out and starting again. We will, with the help of the community, I will hopefully have some shared designs as an optional pack. The other thing as well is if you're coming to this mod, and you'll see me doing this in the campaign, if you're going for 32 knot ship with some guns, you're probably going to be targeting medium on all the sliders. So standard quarters, standard bulkhead, standard range as your baseline, and as you build out from there and you put all the armor on that you want, then you might find that you can increase these, but the kind of default in vanilla of maximum bulkheads on everything, that is gonna get very heavy very, very quickly. I'm just going to quickly jump over to a light cruiser to again explain some of the more obvious differences, like the fact you can put 9-inch guns on a light cruiser if you want. Perfectly viable if you want to do that. Jesus, that's an enormous tower. And yeah, light cruisers can equip sonar, but bigger ships cannot. So your light cruisers and your destroyers, you will need some. And another reason you need them is because torpedoes are so much more dangerous. Look at the damage on a 24-inch standard torp. Yes, that is 54,646.9. The buffs given out by anti-torp are slightly stronger. You can get minus 80% torpedo damage on anti-torp 5, which of course, if you're adding a triple bottom, means you are up to a very large reduction in torpedo damage and flooding chances. But this is going to save your ship if it gets hit, but it's not going to make it invulnerable. And if your ship doesn't have torpedo protection, i.e. it's a light cruiser or a destroyer, it's probably going to die instantly to these torpedoes, which are about 4 to 5 times more dangerous than they are in the vanilla game, or in NAR if you're used to that. They are super, super dangerous. So light cruisers are great for screening your bigger ships, killing enemy destroyers and things like that, because destroyers take extra damage now. They are very vulnerable to being shot at. But you'll want some light cruisers as screens, and you'll probably want some destroyers around for torpedo attacks, which are now actually pretty effective. You can actually land hits with torpedoes, and when you land hits with torpedoes, they hurt, especially if the enemy isn't equipped. And yeah, you can put a 9-inch gun on your light cruiser if you want. If you want lots and lots of dagger. Armor limits are the same as they are in NAR, which means that, yeah, you can build light cruisers that are basically heavy cruisers. The difference is they're going to take more damage because they don't have the resistance, and they can't fit anti-torp and such, which is going to limit them. But yeah, you can build some pretty nasty light cruisers if you want. They're actually pretty useful in this mod, and so are destroyers. Really, I've been doing a little bit of testing destroyers. If you've watched my campaign videos, you'll know that I'm not really a fan of the ambush mission. I kind of am with using this mod. It's totally possible. If you are sending a battleship out on its own with no escorts, and you get an ambush against you, that's dangerous. You can absolutely take out enemy capital ships that way. Very, very dangerous indeed. And making light cruisers and destroyers have a niche is important because, yeah, let's talk about what changed with the campaign, shall we? So in the campaign, you will... It's not obvious, it's not continued, but if you're starting a new campaign, you've got all the same options as you would normally have, but there are two big differences with campaigns. One is that there are no mines, and the other is that there are no submarines. Both of them have been removed. No mines means that the AI is a lot more capable. It's not running into mines all the time. And no submarines is just a good all-round improvement. Honestly, I really do not miss them at all in any way whatsoever. Now, that is a soft getting rid of mines and submarines. Basically, all I did was make the tech unlock year 1975 or something, so that if you are playing a late campaign or you accidentally go over to vanilla, it's not like NAR where the game will build a submarine and then you won't be able to load your campaign because it built a submarine and then it's broken. So again, cross-compatible. This only works on a new campaign though. Okay, so no mines, no submarines, only works if on a new campaign, which of course I will be playing a new campaign. There'll be no mines, no submarines, which gets rid of a huge part of light cruiser and destroyer function, which is why, partly why, anyway, the focus has moved to torpedoes and screening for them. In terms of the campaign, there are also other changes, which you'll see when I'm playing it. Still under testing. Testing the campaign is very difficult. But things like transports now give you a lot more victory points, and they're a lot more punishing to the enemy in terms of the economy if you sink them. Blockades are a lot more punishing as well. If you blockade an enemy country, they're going to want to sue for peace pretty quickly. There's a few other things that have been tweaked and changed, but all that's still kind of in testing, so I'm not going to say specifically what is going to change with that, because yeah, I'm still trying to make sure it all works and things like that. And in battles, if you are used to the balance mod custom battles, I have imported a lot of the improvements from that. Increased sight radius so that you can kind of position your fleets against each other before you engage. Ships that open fire on you, you should now be able to spot. Even if you can't actually see them, your ships can still shoot at them, which is kind of cool. So you'll see things like ships firing into smoke screens and getting hits. And generally speaking, the range found bonus is tricky. I still haven't worked out a way to cap it. There is some parameters that I think I can mess around with aiming, but I don't want to break anything. So I've just kind of designed the mod around the fact that you're going to appear to have extremely good chances to hit, like 70, 80%. Because those are largely a lie. Yeah, 70, 80%, but you're not going to hit 70 or 80% of your shots. You're going to hit maybe half of them because of the recoil mechanic. And then when you do actually hit enemy ships, because of the changes to way armor and penetration works, which I'm using from NAR, with a little bit of balance mod sprinkled in there, you're going to see a lot of partial pens. You're going to see a lot of partial pens, and it's going to take the structure down. You're going to light some fires. You will not be killing ships with HE spam, though. HE spam has been nerfed into the ground. You need 95% of compartments to kill a ship with fire, just like you do in the balance mod. And the Naval Arms Race fire chance reduction I've kept. So, yeah, HE spam, at least, unless it's, well, it's not going through the armor, it doesn't work. But if you go through the armor with HE, oh, that's bad times. Bad times indeed. So make sure that you're armored up against HE. But as you can see, the HE pen is pretty darn low, even with the base few shells. So, you know, in this case, if you're running around 2-3 inches of armor, that's enough to guard you against 15-inch HE shells. But yeah, if you're running 0 armor, bad times all round. So transports, you'll see some big numbers. Destroyers as well, if they're running unarmored, will take some really massive hits. But killing a ship through just hitting it a load of partial pens and killing it through the fire, not so much. You can take a ship down to 0 structure just using partial pens. If you just kind of hammer a ship over and over and over again, eventually it will either surrender or just fall apart. But really, what you're looking for is a penetrating hit using your AP shells that goes into their citadel. That is super dangerous. And just like with the balance mod, 1 or 2 of those, and that is battle over. And what this means is, and I've been playing a lot of custom battles with this, is that really you've got to be careful and you've got to keep an eye on your ships. And if you take a hit, you probably best off withdrawing them straight away, because if you're building your ships well, they can take a hit, but they can't take 2. Like, they can survive taking a nasty hit, and then you really want to be getting them out of there. Which means that battles against the AI are kind of brutal. You can destroy the enemy fleet, but your own ships will have taken a fair bit of damage. If you're not careful, you might have lost 1 or 2 of them. And they are at longer ranges than you're used to. And they're pretty brutal, they're pretty slugfesty. And I'm really excited to show you guys, because I actually think they're a load of fun. I'm really excited for the new campaign coming up. Yes, it's a custom mod. That also means that I might be changing the mod as we go. And if you've been listening to all of this and you're like, yes, this sounds really cool, I want to play this mod, it is not ready for prime time. Believe me, there are rough patches. It is okay. It's fun, but that's knowing that I can just go into the files and change anything that comes up that is bad. But if you are wanting to help out with the testing, as I said earlier, and you're excited about this, you want to try it out, hey, come join me with trying this mod out and trying to get it working. I'm hoping for a full release. Probably the next time Dreadnoughts gets a big update. Hopefully New Year, January sort of time. And basically once I've played through a full campaign and worked any kinks out of the system, because yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot to play an entire campaign and test it. I've been doing that in the background, but no, you're going to be live testing it with me as I embark on a brand new mod, because F submarines. This is very much a personal mod, or at least that's how it started out. But honestly, I really do appreciate constructive feedback, and try it out, give it a go, let me know how it is if you want to join the testing program. But if you just want to sit back, relax, and enjoy a brand new campaign, that will be coming tomorrow once I get to see the results of the community poll. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts, but improved. Bye for now.